All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our exciting final session of our Sacramento School Wellness Summit. We're so happy that you guys are here with us. I see some familiar names in the chat, so thank you for joining us again. For those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Hiba Eltahir. I am a program administrator here at the Health Education Council, which is a nonprofit based here in Sacramento, serving the greater Sacramento, California region. Our mission is to cultivate the health and well being in underserved communities by leveraging the power of collaboration. The Health Education Council team welcomes you to our fourth annual Sacramento School Wellness Summit. Thank you for joining us for our final session today, titled Inspiring Kids to Eat Their Veggies, presented by Food Literacy Center. So our funder, California's CalFresh Healthy Living Program, with funding from the United States Department of Agriculture's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or USDA SNAP, produced this Justice for All poster. And this is an institution that is equal opportunity provider and employer. For more important nutrition information, feel free to visit www.calfreshhealthyliving.org. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you of our housekeeping items. So the attendee lines are automatically muted and your video feature is off. Please use the chat, raise hand, or Q&A feature to ask any questions. We'll also be providing a post-session survey and a final summit survey at the end of today's session. For those requesting professional development credits, similar to our session yesterday and the day before, you will need to complete those post surveys in order to receive those professional development credits. So today's session will explore inspiring kids to eat their veggies. Food Literacy Center will be speaking about their K through 6th grade cooking and nutrition program models, and will provide helpful examples of how empowering students in the kitchen can be an effective tool to inspire lifelong healthy habits. Participants will also learn about the importance of collaboration and developing a wide net of partnerships to increase impact. It seems like collaboration is a theme, is a sub-theme of our summit. So I love that. And now I'm excited and have the privilege and honor to introduce our guest speakers for today. Our speakers today are Rebekah Latronica. Rebekah has a wealth of knowledge in youth nutrition education program development and implementation, and has coordinated youth programs in hundreds of classrooms across Sacramento. Rebekah joined Food Literacy Center to help design the garden program as they moved into their new facility with a 1-acre outdoor learning space for students. Rebekah believes that teaching others how to grow their own food and then prepare it at home is a powerful way to build healthier and more resilient communities. Rebekah holds a Bachelor of Arts in Public Health, which they received from the University of California, Merced, and they are currently pursuing a Master's in Public Health at the University of California, Berkeley. Congratulations, Rebekah. We also have Sabrina White, who first joined Food Literacy Center in 2021 as a program intern while pursuing her bachelor's degree in sustainable ag and food systems at the University of California, Davis, right in our neck of the woods. In 2022, she joined Food Literacy Center as program and volunteer coordinator. In this role, she oversees the volunteer program as well as teaching, cooking, and nutrition classes. Sabrina grew up in South Sacramento, attending one of the elementary schools that Food Literacy Center currently serves. Growing up in a food desert ignited her to work on food systems equity. She believes that food literacy education encourages students to make healthier food choices and empowers them to become change makers in their communities. So without further ado, I would like to hand it off to our speakers, Rebekah and Sabrina. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for that introduction. We are so happy to be here. Let me get our presentation shared and we will get started.
To get started, we thought it would be fun to all share in the chat our favorite fall fruit or veggie that we are looking forward to getting to try soon. What's your favorite fall?
My favorite fall fruit would be pears, and specifically Asian pears. What about you?
Mine is persimmon, although it's a little bit more wintry, but I'm just really excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free to put your answer in the chat while we get started, and we can share out anything that we're seeing. Let's see. Persimmon and pumpkin, kiwi, pumpkin. Yes, persimmons, watermelon all year. Got to get the rest of the watermelons while they're ready.
Yeah.
Apples. Love some apples as well. Awesome. Oh, strawberry and broccoli. Pumpkin. A lot of pumpkin fans. I mean, of course, now is the time for pumpkins. Yeah. Fuji persimmons. Awesome. All right. So we are going to talk a little bit more today about how we inspire kids to eat their vegetables. Oops. All right. So through our presentation, we are going to discuss how our work connects to the summit theme of harmony and health. We will give a background about Food Literacy Center and do a little picture tour of our center. Then we will explain a little bit about how we have expanded our programs through our collaboration and share out some student impact highlights, as well as some resources. And then we will have some time for question and answers throughout the end. But feel free to put any questions that you're having in the chat, and we will try to answer them as we go if we have time as well. So no need to hold on to them till the end. So our theme, connecting to the theme of harmony and health, how we do that through our work is by making healthy eating and active play fun as a way to build student resilience and combat the effects of toxic stress. And by educating through schools, we help kids develop healthy food habits while they are young. So their parents are our secondary audience. Our curriculum inspires the kids to bring home what they've learned to influence the food choices that their families make. So we have a quote here from Angel in 3rd grade who said that every vegetable is an adventure. So that's really what our work is all about here. We really want to provide the hands-on education here where a kid can try bok choy for the first time in their life and learn that they actually really like it. And they can take home the recipe that we use that day to their family and say, hey, we learned a new thing at school today at food literacy class. Can we go to the store, get some bok choy? And now maybe their parent is also trying bok choy for the first time in their life. So we know that food is such a huge part of everybody's life. And by bringing it through the kids' eyes, it's able to just inspire their family to make new choices that they might not have made for themselves. So that's how our work really helps to fuel the future with wellness by starting with the young age.
So we would love to hear about from you guys what some of your biggest challenges are in encouraging the students that you work with to be healthy eaters. I know one for us that we see a lot is the kind of like peer pressure around not liking healthy foods. You know, when one kid tries something and says that they don't like it, it's really hard to convince the other kids at the table to take that chance.
It does definitely kind of build up a bit of a culture of fear around trying new foods. So a lot of students, especially if we're going to a new school, for example, that we haven't been to, we might have trouble with the older grades, the 6th graders, getting them to try new things, while the kindergarteners or the 1st graders of the same school will have an easier time because they haven't been exposed to that fear culture quite as much yet. Let's see if anybody has any answers. Someone says, the perception that healthy food isn't as tasty as junk food. That's totally right. A lot of people just kind of think, oh, healthy food doesn't taste very good. And we try to change their minds about that. And I think we really do. The kids love our recipes. So making the food taste as good as it can is a really great way to help kids eat healthy foods. Let's see. Parents sending junk food for snacks. Yeah, a lot of parents might not have access to like the time to make a healthy snack for their student to take to school that day. It's easier to send them with a bag of chips. Yeah. The willingness to try new veggies, lack of exposure, parents' negative role modeling. different cultures have a different way of cooking, which can sometimes clash with a healthier version. Yeah, those are all really great examples.
Yeah, I think there are so many different things that impact how a student thinks about food. So I think there's so many different ways that we can encourage them to be healthy eaters.
Yeah. Kinders are much easier. I give them an I try it sticker if they try it. I also tried the fruit or veggie with them.
Yeah.
Almost everyone tries the fruit or veggie. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Kindergarteners, you give them a sticker, they will try anything. Making plant-based protein taste awesome. Yeah, just a few things you can learn, and that won't be too hard. Peers bringing junk food to school and allowing and sharing them with their friends. Unequitable health options for already strapped budget family homes. Yeah, that's a big one that is more systemic. My mom always said the more fat, the yummier. Yeah. So how can we make it the more veggies, the yummier? That's what we're trying to do here. Great answers. Thank you everybody for sharing. Feel free to keep sharing if you have any more, and we will keep it going. So provide a little bit more information about Food Literacy Center. Our mission here is to inspire kids to eat their vegetables. And we do that by teaching children in low-income elementary schools about cooking, nutrition, gardening, and active play to improve our health, the environment, and the economy. So Levi said, you can put fruits and vegetables into yummy foods, which is so true. That is exactly what we teach the kids to do here. But what is food literacy? Here we define food literacy as understanding the impact of our food choices on our health, the environment, and our economy, and understanding that these impacts are not experienced equitably. So we believe that being food literate empowers us to make informed choices. Our job is to provide food education in a way that is fun, approachable, and practical for our audience. And who do we serve? We serve primarily K through 6th grade students with our programming, although we do have some additional things that reach their families or community members in other ways. We also primarily serve low-income households and communities, and these communities are culturally and ethnically diverse. And we also work with schools that typically have a 75 to 100% of students who qualify for the free and reduced school lunch. And also these communities typically live in food deserts, which are communities that live over a mile away from access to a grocery store with healthy food and produce options. So that is who we reach, and we have to be very thoughtful in how we reach them, considering all of these background factors.
So what we do at Food Literacy Center, like we've said, we teach cooking and gardening classes to elementary school students, along with active play and nutrition. But in our classes, we are not just teaching them about it. We are cooking hands-on with the students. We really think that by having the kids make food themselves, it empowers them to be a little more willing and brave to try the foods that we're introducing to them because they made it themselves versus just trying something that we brought for them to try. And we also train, we rely very much on a large volunteer and intern team, as well as student service learning volunteers from different colleges in the area. And we really strive to make those opportunities educational for our volunteers as well, so that they are not just impacting students, but hopefully taking that knowledge they learn while volunteering in our programs to their communities as well, and having that ripple effect.
And a lot of them do say that. A lot of our interns and volunteers, as we're trying things, they say, oh, I took the recipe home and I made it for dinner and I loved it so much and I made it with my roommates. So it really does impact not just the kids, it's the volunteers as well.
One that always comes to mind is we have a volunteer who, she's one of our great, like twice a week volunteers who's here all the time. And her first time she came to one of our cooking classes, we were doing our blood sugar experiment where we're teaching kids how fruit and vegetable sugars work in the bloodstream differently than simple sugars. And afterwards, she actually told me that she is diabetic and she did not know that information, even with all the information she's gotten from her doctor. So we really tried to make it helpful for everyone who interacts with the program. So a brief history of Food Literacy Center. Our founder, Amber Stott, started Food Literacy Center in 2011 when she noticed that there was a critical gap in helping individuals improve their knowledge, attitude, and behavior towards healthy foods. The next year in 2012, Food Literacy Center worked with the California legislature to declare September as Food Literacy Month. So for the whole month, there is a statewide awareness campaign to talk about the need for cooking and nutrition education for students. In 2016, we were very lucky that the Sacramento City Unified School District Board named us as the operator of the cooking school and student garden that we're currently working out of. And in 2021, we were able to move into this 2.5-acre state-of-the-art facility where we were able to really expand the after-school programs we were already doing, but we're also able to start a whole new daytime program with the students at Leotata Floyd Elementary School right next door. So they all get to come over during their school day to get our cooking and gardening education as part of their science curriculum. So our program model really centers around using joy to inspire healthy habits in kids. We really think that by making healthy foods fun, we can get a lot further with the students. And one of the really fun ways that we do this is by all having fruit and veggie names. We think that this helps make us a little more approachable and seem more like a friend to the kids than just like a teacher. And it also makes it a little easier for them to remember our names. So my fruit and veggie name is soybean Sabrina.
And mine is radish Rebekah.
And we have all of our volunteers do this as well. We've run some really fun ones. Like we had a Mr. Tom Mato. We had a volunteer named Aloe Vera because her name was Vera. So we really try to make this fun. And I think that really shows just how much we try to make all aspects of what we do joyful. A really important part of what we do as well is that we ditch our diets at the door. As adults, like we were just talking about when we were talking about some of our challenges that we have with our students, is that there's a lot of influence by the adults in the kids' lives. And so we really try to leave behind those preconceptions that we have around what are good or bad foods. We try to really have an additive approach. So we're encouraging kids to eat more fruits and veggies instead of trying to discourage them from eating foods that are their favorite foods. I really think that if I tell a kid not to eat top ramen, I've lost them. But if I can teach them to add vegetables to their top ramen, it is a step in the right direction. We also have our recipes are made for the kids to use. So if you take a look at our recipes, you'll see that there's usually only a couple instructions for adults, supervising with the stove or with knives. They're really there to assist the students or their kids while the kids are taking on the majority of the work to make the recipe. We encourage the students and each other to be food adventurers. We think that if we set that example and try things that we're a little hesitant to try, that it is easier for the kids to want to do that as well. We also focus on using ingredients that are familiar and accessible to our audience. Knowing the communities that we work with, it's not realistic to tell them to go out and buy expensive like superfoods that you hear about in media and stuff like that. And so our recipes rely on affordable ingredients that families can get often at food banks and things like that. And a really important thing that we do as well is that we love when we get suggestions and feedback from our students. We want the food that we're making with them to be good and we want them to enjoy it. So we love when they tell us they like recipes, and we love when they tell us they don't like recipes, and we ask them why, and we try to improve on those recipes and make them more effective.
I also got some really helpful feedback for my garden lessons from some 6th graders, and they said to incorporate more jokes into the lesson. So I took that note, and this year is going to be packed full of garden puns.
Awesome. So now we are going to a quick little photo tour of our new facility that we moved into last year, or 2 years ago now, I guess. Um, So on this slide here, you can see some of those planning stages. So this facility is a collaboration between Food Literacy Center, the City of Sacramento, and the Sacramento City Unified School District. So we are able to use this building for free from the district, which is a really, really lucky thing for us. So here you can see some of those preliminary plans and some of the mock-ups and the very beginning stages when the team was first allowed to check out what the building was going to look like. Last year, we moved in and had our first group of students come through for classes. And so it's just so wonderful to see the space really come to life when the kids are in there. And so in the classroom, we have 4 cooking stations for the students where they have an induction stovetop provided by SMUD, as well as really fancy microwaves that have multi-functions. They have a full set of cooking tools at each station, a sink, so the kids can really have that experience of cooking in hopefully something similar to the kitchen they have at home and really get to use those tools. And we try when possible to eat together family style and set the table and really talk about the foods that we're eating together. And so for our garden classroom, we have a 1-acre farm in our backyard. It is still in the very beginning stages, but already the kids already tell us so often how much they like the space, that they feel like they can go out there and burn up their energy, or they say that they go out there and they feel really peaceful. And so our garden classroom is a really important space for encouraging learning science, but also some of those social emotional learning skills as well. We really try to focus on mindfulness and being aware of your environment while being outside with the kids. And they love when we get to have the goats too. That is definitely a highlight for the kids and for the staff here.
Absolutely. All right, so now we've given a bit of a background about what we do. We wanted to talk more about how we've been able to do this through our networks of collaboration. So we'll talk a little bit more about the kind of work that we have done before and how it's been able to change as we moved through this and moved into this building. But we really wanted to highlight how much we were still able to do before we had access to this space to make it seem a little bit more feasible to do something at a smaller capacity at whatever level might be available to you. So this slide talks about how we have grown our programs. So moving into this new facility has enabled the expansion of our work in many ways. But before, we were still able to do a lot of what we're doing now. We've just added on more. So before we moved in here about 2 years ago, we were working out of a school portable over at Leotata Floyd Elementary School. So just one small school portable. It had inside of it 2 fridges. And to do all of our after school programming, we would bring our induction burners, coolers, cooking supplies, and volunteers. So with these resources, we were able to run our after school program to about 5 or so schools over the school year per session. So we were still reaching quite a few schools in the after school setting. We were also doing meal kit distributions, which especially picked up during the pandemic. When we were not in schools, the meal kit distributions were our primary way of still reaching the community. So we would distribute meal kits with all of the ingredients to make a certain recipe alongside the school meal distributions. And we were also running kids farmers markets before the pandemic. So this is similar to a food distribution, but it's set up farmers market style, where we give the kids food literacy bucks. We give them a giant tote bag. They can walk around the market and shop with their money. We're trying to get their attention, 2 onions for free, come get 3 potatoes for $1. And the kids really load up their bags and they get to try to carry them home, but they're usually pretty heavy and they need a lot of help carrying their bags. So we want to highlight that with these limited resources, we were still able to get this after school program off the ground and reach a lot of students through it, with just a few different cooking supplies. But after we have moved into our new location, we have been able to do that and even more. So now we have resources, including our beautiful walk-in fridge and walk-in dry storage. We have a full commercial kitchen alongside our coolers, our cooking supplies. We have a whole farm now. That really changes what we're able to do, including developing an entirely new garden program. And we still, of course, rely on our volunteers and staff to do all this work. So with these new resources, we're still doing our after school program, but we are expanding into more schools than ever. We're doing our meal kit distributions. We had a bit of a slowdown after the pandemic. We're able to go back into school. Now we are noticing how much these meal kits really mean to our families. So we are doing them more frequently than we were before. And we are fortunately back to doing our kids farmers markets. And this year we're going to hit a record number of kids farmers markets. We're typically only able to do about one or two per school year, but this year I think we're going to be doing at least 5. And in addition, we're now also doing our daytime programs, which includes our cooking program and our gardening program. Our daytime cooking program does follow the similar model as our after school, but we've been able to expand it in a few different ways. And we're also doing even more than we've ever done before. We have lots of community events that are happening here sporadically. We are doing family cooking nights. We have, harvest festival. We have just different fun ways to engage our community, to let them know that Food Literacy Center is here for them. This whole center is for them. It's for the students. We're just here to work alongside them. So we really open it up to the community. And we will give a little more information now about our after school program and how we run it. So our after school program is the most requested, our food literacy program is the most requested after school program in Sac City Unified School District. So through our after school program, we provide 10 weeks of entirely free hands-on cooking and nutrition programming in the after school setting for K through 6th grade students who are enrolled in their after school program. For the program, we bring all of the cooking supplies and the ingredients that are needed to prepare simple and healthy recipes, and then we teach the students how to make them. So each kid will learn how to make the recipe. They will get to follow the whole process of making the whole thing for themselves. They get to taste it, and we see what they thought about it. We also get to try different produce items with them each week. We call it Produce of the Day. And this happens in their school cafeteria. So we are in their cafeteria and we work with each kid to learn how to cook with them. So we're there for 10 weeks. We get really familiar with the school sites. A lot of schools that we go to, we have been in for almost 10 years now, and we're just continuing to expand. So we have expanded now from just Sacramento City Unified to also include Robles School District, and we're trying to continue reaching more students every year. Of course, we're limited in capacity by number of staff, but if we could be in every school, we would be in every school. And the kids really love when we show up. Manoa said, food literacy class, woohoo. Like when they see us on campus, they recognize us based off of just our food literacy shirts. They may not have met us specifically before, but they recognize the food literacy shirt, and they are just so excited to have us back. Especially in many schools we're returning to over time. There's some 6th graders in the program now that we've had since they were in 1st grade. So we see kids for multiple years in a row, and that is a big part of our program model as well. We're not just seeing a kid one time, 1 year, we're seeing them 10 times for 1 year and hopefully for 6 years after that as well. And that is our after school program. So that is our bread and butter. We've been doing that for 10 plus years now. And our model is really honed in on our after school program. So that is pretty much, it runs itself at this point. And our daytime program is very new to us. This is our 2nd school year starting right now of fully implementing our daytime programming. So our daytime programs currently serve every student at Leotata Floyd Elementary, our neighboring school. So it's similarly, we provide 10 weeks of cooking classes, but we also provide 10 more weeks of gardening program over the course of the school year. So every student gets all of these lessons, and these lessons are a little bit longer, and they also have a lower student to educator ratio. So we're able to spend more time building relationships with the students. And in these lessons, we also have a greater capacity to incorporate more elements from science standards, social emotional learning concepts, art, and physical activity. So in the after school, we're typically serving about one group of 40 to 50 kids for 3 sessions in a row. So it's about few educators for that many kids, whereas during our daytime programs, it's an educator for a class of maybe 20 students. So we have a lot more time with them to dig into a specific concept or to really just get to know them and make an effort to really build that relationship, because we are able to have that time with them in our daytime programs. And like I said, there are other programs that we have added on to what we do. So a few extra ways that we connect with our students, their families, and the community are through the meal kit distributions, our kids' farmers markets. We also just started our first ever summer field trip. So over this past summer, we were able to open up Food Literacy Center to other schools aside from Leotata Floyd. So we were able to finally have other schools come visit us. I think we saw 13 new schools. 13 new schools. Some of them were schools that we've been in after school for many years, and they knew us already. It was some new schools that we have never seen before, and they were able to come here and do a full cooking lesson and a full garden tour with us as well. And we're going to hopefully expand our summer field trips as well, in addition to more field trips during the school day this school year as well. And we have a Harvest Festival event that we host annually, last year for the first time, and we're just trying to grow that program as well, and starting up some free family cooking classes for our Leotata community, for the whole family to come to our Food Literacy Center, cook a meal together, eat it here. And we just had our first ever one with a great turnout of 2 families. They really loved it, and especially great feedback from one of our students at Leotata. She has been in our program before, and she said, we were asking her, oh, what did you think? How did you like it? And she was saying, oh, I didn't really think that I would like it because I don't really like spaghetti that much, but I really liked your recipe because you could actually like taste the tomato sauce. She said it kind of tasted more like pizza sauce. So that's just feedback we love to hear. Like, I didn't think that I would like it, but I really liked your recipe. So we love to hear that from our community members as well. I'm going to see the chat real quick to see if we have any questions. How do we decide which recipes to do?
I think mainly based on we have about, I think, 16 lessons that we pulled from to do our 10-week curriculum. So based on the lessons that we are doing that year on different topics, like fiber, we have a sugar lesson, a salt lesson, we have one on food culture, and we have certain recipes that kind of work with particular lessons. So that's sort of how we decide which of our recipes to do each year. There's a few that we do every year. The kids love them, and they're really fun, effective recipes for certain lessons. But we try to switch it up every year so the kids who are coming back have something new to learn as well. Yeah. It's always funny when they ask why we're not doing a lesson or a recipe we did before. Like they'll ask, like, how come we didn't do the soba noodle salad this year? So it's nice to know that they like our recipes and they remember them too.
Yeah.
Let's see. So like we said, collaboration has been a really, really important part of us being able to expand as much as we have over the last few years. So some of the collaborations that we have that have allowed us to expand the number of students and families that we can reach include the Oak Park Farmers Market. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the Oak Park Farmers Market, but unfortunately last year it was shut down in the middle of the year by the nonprofit that was hosting it, which was a really big detriment to that neighborhood. There's not a lot of access to healthy foods in that neighborhood, and it's a really important part of that community. And so this year, the founder, Joni Titherington, worked really hard to raise the funds to bring it back, and it became a project, a food literacy center, until they're able to make it its own nonprofit in the future. So that's been a really great way for us to reach more community members and share what we're doing. We also have collaborated with Community Food Connections, which is a program that I believe Alchemist is involved with as well, that does recipe kit and grocery deliveries to students' homes for families that have transportation issues. We also benefit greatly from collaborating and partnering with different higher ed, service learning, and workforce development programs. We work with Sac State nursing and nutrition students. We've had a lot of students from UC Davis, various programs at UC Davis. We've also worked with different public health and doctoral students, dietetic interns. We really think it's a great opportunity to let those students have some hands-on experience working in different communities. And it's great, like Rebekah said earlier, when they have just hearing what they get from it as well. I remember having an intern who told us that after working with us, she decided to change her focus to community health. And so it's great that we are impacting the kids and also some of the interns and college students that work with us. We also work with high school students. So we've partnered with different high schools that have internship programs or volunteer requirements. We definitely noticed the elementary school kids really like the high schoolers. They think they're really cool, and it's a really great way to encourage some kids who maybe wouldn't be as willing to try things. Like when they see like this cool teenager doing it, it makes it a little more fun for them, I think. We also have collaborated a lot with SMUD. They're really great supporters of ours. They donated the induction stoves that we have in our cooking classroom, and they've also been doing cooking classes, free ones for the community to teach more about induction stoves. We also are very lucky to have built some relationships with some corporate volunteer groups. So pictured there is some of our Safe Credit Union volunteers. They have been coming out to almost all of our farmers markets over the last year, and they really enable us to do more in the community. And we also have some great support from various city officials who help us promote the work that we're doing. So another little reflection question to drop in the chat is, how can you utilize your networks to support student health? So maybe if any ideas came up as you were hearing some of the things we've done, or if there are any ways that you're already utilizing those networks, we'd love to hear about what you guys are doing.
Let's see. Another question is, where do you get your recipes from? So we have a large catalog of recipes that we've developed here ourselves at Food Literacy Center. And we pull those for our classes, for our lessons. We have some recipes that are typically paired with certain lessons that we use again and again. But yeah, pretty much all of our recipes are tested and refined here by us as our staff.
And with student input.
And with student input as well. And how are we funded? We are primarily grant funded. We apply to many grants throughout the year. We're also privately donation funded as well. Yeah. And what is our long-term mission? Our long-term mission is
to inspire kids to eat their vegetables. We try to keep it simple. There are a lot of different ways to impact student health. So we picked one, and we really go all in. We are the veggie people, as the kids call us as we walk in.
You're the vegetable people. Yeah, that's us, because we care enough about you to get you to love vegetables. So the kids may change over the years, but the mission stays the same.
And we do focus more on vegetables than fruit, just because we do see that most kids are a little more adventurous around fruit, and the veggies can be a little more intimidating. So while we do enjoy a nice fruit, we really do try to push them to be a little more adventurous and trying some of those scarier veggies like arugula and bok choy and watermelon radish and things like that.
All right, well, let's keep going. We'll answer some more questions.
Oh, the Oak Park Farmers Market is back. It is on Saturday mornings again from, I believe it's 9 to 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And they'll be going through November 18th. Definitely come by, say hi, maybe pick up one of our recipes.
All right.
Awesome. So we are also going to talk about some of our student impact highlights. I think one of the best things about my job, and I'm sure Rebekah would agree, is getting to see the behavior change over just a couple weeks together, to just see how after a few lessons together, kids can have a more adventurous attitude towards vegetables. So a couple of my favorite success stories. Our first one here is a story about Letty, who is a kindergartner in our program. The first few weeks of our lessons, Letty was very hesitant about trying new foods. He just really was not about it. He would make the recipes, but just didn't want to try them. Wasn't really wanting to try produce of the day. But through some gentle encouragement, I was really trying to just encourage him. Like, he didn't want to try the food, but I would just say, do you want to touch it with your hands? Like, you can smell it. You can like just taste it with your tongue. You don't have to take a bite. Just letting him take those smaller steps that he was brave enough to try it over time. I think encouraged him and made him feel a little more secure in trying something. It got rid of some of that intimidation. And then eventually the day he decided he was ready to try produce of the day was the day we were doing arugula, which was when we decided to do arugula, we knew it was not going to be a popular one. We knew the kids were generally not going to like it, but we think sometimes getting them to try something they don't like is a great learning opportunity too. So he did try arugula. He was not a fan, but he was really proud of himself for trying it. And a couple weeks later, when we were doing our evaluations with them, he actually wrote on his evaluation that he likes to try new foods. And there's a little drawing of him there. He told me it was him trying the arugula, even though he didn't like it. So that was just really great to see that someone even just 5 years old could have that change in attitude, and that he went from telling me that he was afraid to try new foods to that he liked to do that. Another one of my really favorite stories from last year was one of our students, Ronnie, who is maybe not super enthusiastic about school. He'd much rather be playing with his friends outside than be in the classroom. And on his first day, I remember he walked in and he was very loudly and clearly letting everyone who could hear him know that he didn't want to be there. He thought it was stupid. He didn't want to do it. And it really became my little project over the next 10 weeks with him to make him want to be there. And so I really made a point of trying to build a relationship with him. We did a lot of deals were made. His first time in my class, he was really acting out. He was being really disruptive and distracting others. And at the end of the day, he was a little disappointed he didn't get to do something. And I let him know, if you can be more respectful next time, I let him meet the cats is what I did. I let him go outside to meet our farm cats. And I really put time into like letting him know that I wanted him to be there and that I wanted him to enjoy his time in our class. And at the end of the year, during his end of year learning journey presentation, he was really excited to share with us that the work that he was most proud of is what he did in our classes. So it was really great to see that we were able to have that much of an impact and got him to want to be at school. We also get some great feedback from teachers and admin. So teachers tell us that they have seen a reduction in the number of absences and tardiness on the days that students have their food literacy classes. They have told us that they see that getting to come to our classes is an incentive for improved behavior overall in classes. And we hear from a lot of parents that they notice that their students are eating more vegetables at home, and they're going home and telling them about what they made in class and asking them to cook it together. So it's just really great to see that that those changes are being seen by others as well. So some of our Kiwi takeaways. So some ways that you can implement small parts of what we do in your own capacity is, of course, leading with joy, making healthy eating fun. We also always start with our group agreements, the last of which is have fun. We think that letting kids know what to expect in our classes makes it easier for them to know how to behave in our classes. We don't make false promises. We don't tell a kid that we know they'll like something, because that might not be the case. We let kids do things on their own terms. A lot of the students we're working with have things going on at home. They have things going on in their regular classroom. They have stress and trauma that is impacting why they are doing the things that they do. And so if a kid wants to put their head down and rest, we let them do that, and we still offer them to participate if they'd like to. And we celebrate small wins. If a kid takes a bite of something and spits it out, I'm still excited that they took the bite. And you can see that quote at the bottom from Arabella is that her favorite part of food literacy class is when you sit down and talk to me, which really goes back to just really trying to build relationships. Kids won't trust you if they don't trust you. So another quick little reflection question, if you guys would like to put this in the chat. We'd love to hear how you bring joy to your daily interaction with students to support relationship building.
Let's see, how much more do we have?
Let's see. Oh, kind of a lot.
We're going to have you put your answers in the chat, and then we will come back to that.
So some more takeaways, particularly around trying to get kids to be food adventurers and try new foods. So eating with them, like someone mentioned earlier, if you try it with them, they are more likely to try it. We try to be convincing, but not coercive. We think if you put too much pressure on trying new foods, it can do more harm than good. Considering your wording, so saying, would you like a small piece or a big piece, is going to get a different answer than asking if they'd like a piece. It sort of opts them out of the no. Remembering that small steps still count, so getting them to feel, taste, or smell foods is one step closer to getting them to eat it. Letting kids know it's okay not to like things, and encouraging them to think about why they don't like it. Is it a texture thing? Is it the flavor? Do they just not like the way it smells? Getting them to be a little more critical thinking about what they don't like and why. And we avoid promising that they're going to like things, bribing, creating stress around trying new foods, or the concept of a no thank you bite, that they have to try everything. If they make the recipe and throw it away, we're still just glad they tried it.
All right, that actually is the bulk of our presentation. So let's just check if we have anything in the chat. So let's see. Let's see. Kim says, we have an Ag Day celebration. We're at elementary and middle school. Visit our high school farm, learn about farming, eating a tasty barbecue prepared by our food service department. That sounds very fun. Where can we find the schedule for those farmers markets? For the Oak Park Farmers Market, it's currently every Saturday, I believe. If you go to Instagram is where it's most easy to find them. The Oak Park Farmers Market is, but it's every Saturday right now from 9 to 1.
At McClatchy Park.
McClatchy Park. Let's see. I think these are some ways that they use joy as well. Connecting students with health professionals and sharing educational materials could help them in the subjects. I wish every kid had access to this at their school site. Absolutely.
We do
too. We wish we could be at every school. Providing stickers and prizes when tasting. Absolutely. Of course.
A sticker goes so far.
A sticker goes a long way. A food taste test. Yeah. Just encouraging them. Oh, you never had this before? Let's try it and see what we think. Not like, try it. I think you're going to like it. Just know, like, let's see what you think. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that out. And we just have a few resources to share. Like we said, on our website, we have recipes. Our recipes are available in English, Spanish, and Hmong. They are designed to be made with kids, with adults assisting and supervising while the kids take the lead. And most of our recipes are simple to follow. They're fruit and veggie forward, and they are guaranteed to get kids and adults to eat their vegetables. Aria can attest. She said, I'm going to show this recipe to my mom and my dad. So if you look at the recipe on the side, you can see the section for adults is quite small, and the section for kids is very long because we're here to teach them how to do it. And we also have our curriculum online for free. We have 12 cooking and nutrition lessons with activities for K through 6th grade students. And they can be used in any way, either as a standalone lesson or part of a series. They can really be adapted to fit any ability level of any teacher or just adults. And they cover topics around nutrition, such as sugars, salt, fats, eating seasonally, talking about food culture, food waste, parts of the plant, and even more. So all of these lessons are really short and simple. The activity portion is pretty easy, and the main focus of the lesson is teaching them how to cook the recipe. So the lesson is just a small part to kind of get their buy-in towards making the recipe.
And I believe Mylin had the links that she was going to share in the chat for those, and if you guys wanted to check them out.
Thank you so much for sharing those links. And that is it for our presentation. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Yeah, we have a few minutes for questions and answers.
All right. Thank you so much, Rebekah and Sabrina. That was amazing. We do have some questions that came through in the chat. So the first question is, do you have any programs for parents too, or for families as a whole unit? And then the other part of that question, what is your strategy to engage students and their families?
Definitely getting the families here is difficult. And when we have been in conversation with other nonprofits who do similar programs, it is a thing. Getting the parents in the door is a struggle. Understandably, a lot of them are very busy, particularly the communities that we serve. Parents are at work, and they don't really have the time and flexibility to be able to come to those extra events, unfortunately. But some of the ways that we are trying to engage more, particularly with the families of the students who go to Leotata Floyd Elementary, we recently started doing our free community cooking classes where the whole family gets to come and cook together in our cooking classroom. So the parents kind of get to see what the kids are doing at school. The kids can show off what they've been learning, and they get an opportunity to have dinner together as a family, and as well as meet other families at the school.
Yeah, we don't really have programming specific to families or adults. Like, our program audience is primarily the students, but we also try to engage the families mostly through our meal kit distribution. So we do these meal kit distributions at a lot of different schools, and inside of the meal kit is all the ingredients to make a specific recipe plus that recipe. So the kid will go home with that meal kit, and they can show the recipe to their parents, and they can make it at home together. And hopefully the kid also will have had the food literacy program, so they can kind of take the lead explaining to their parents, hey, like, here's how we make this recipe. Let me show you how. So it's all coming through that student lens.
Great. Love that. That's amazing. All right. The next question is, how do you evaluate your program success?
Yes.
And
That's the guy.
someone also said, I love everything you guys have brought to us today. So
thank you so much.
Shout out to you all. So how do you evaluate your program success?
Yes. So I am kind of our expert on evaluations, not to brag. I'm working with our program director and an evaluation consultant. We have been evaluating our program since the very beginning of Food Literacy Center by doing a simple evaluation with the students to ask them a few questions about what they've learned, if they can identify the difference between fruits and vegetables. But over the course of the the past few years, we've been trying to simplify that evaluation a lot to get to the heart of what we really need to know, which is just like, what are kids taking away from our program? So at the end of every 10-week session, we go back to every school and we do a short evaluation with the students. It's not a test. We try to just frame more of a worksheet. It just is asking them if they can identify the difference between a fruit and vegetable, how often they should eat fruits and vegetables. And then our last question is just to draw what they've learned in our program. So this question is just broad and open-ended, and we have developed a tool to help understand their answers a little bit more. So we do take their feedback. Their drawings can tell us so much. It might be kind of hard to interpret them, but a kid can draw something and we can ask them, hey, what did you draw? And they'll tell us, oh, I drew myself eating an avocado for the first time, and I learned that avocados have fat in them. And so now we know that kids learn that plant fats exist and avocados have fat in them. So we do these evaluations at every school site, and we're working to make them just a little bit more uniform so we can get just more consistent data out of them, which is, again, it's hard to fully identify a kindergartner's drawing, but now we're adding in the interview to ask the students to tell us about their drawing. So yeah, they've been really helpful for us to get the feedback from them through the evaluations. We can see which recipes are the kids drawing the most. They really love our popcorn recipe. They're drawing it all the time. So we try to keep that in a rotation. Which ones aren't they really drawing? Okay, maybe we'll swap that one out and put a different one in. So we get a lot of good feedback from our evaluations.
Another way we track our impact as well is through the produce of the day number. So we keep track of how many students each week will try the produce of the day. And I believe last year it was 92% of students tried it. It would have been higher without arugula. But yeah, we're usually up in that 95, 98% most years, which is great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love that you're getting the feedback and encouraging the kids to really share like what they like the most. I know sometimes, K through 6, like the young kids can be shy to express, how they feel about, I don't know, trying kale for the first time or expressing that they didn't like a certain food items. That's also good feedback to know, like what recipes did you guys not enjoy? So that we can tweak them or make the necessary changes. So thank you so much. I don't see any other questions in the chat. If you guys do have them, feel free to add them in, and we can just get back to you maybe via email if that works. But for the sake of time, we have a couple minutes left, so I will close us out. I would like to thank our amazing guest speakers, Rebekah and Sabrina today, and all of you who are able to join us for this session and the previous summit sessions. I would like to invite you all as well to our Walk for Health event. This event is scheduled for 9 to 12 p.m. on Saturday, September 30th. It'll be at Robla Community Park in person. The walk is a free family-friendly event that promotes exercise and social connections. Following the walk, participants are welcome to visit the job and health fair booths that we'll also be having, as well as participate in various games and activities that are being planned at that event. And you can find the registration link in the chat as well, or you can email me and I will share that link with you for the event. So with that, I will close out our Sacramento School Wellness Summit. As a reminder, if you do need professional development credits for today's session or any of the previous sessions, you will need to complete those post-session surveys, which you will receive via email after today. And if you want to enter, which I highly recommend you do, enter to our raffle, our gift card raffle. All you need to do is fill out those post-session surveys and you will be entered to win a gift card. So please get to those post surveys for that gift card and also to share your feedback with us on the summit this year. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us and for attending our 4th annual 2023 Sacramento School Wellness Summit. Again, I've been your host, Hiba. If you have any questions, I did link my email in the chat or anything you'd like to share with us in terms of connecting with some of the speakers or getting more information on Health Education Council or some of the work that we do to promote school wellness, please message me. And we hope that you enjoyed all of the sessions. Thank you again, Rebekah and Sabrina. We really appreciate you both. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.